I got the story from the Post Millennial. Secret Service destroyed video evidence of Biden's dog attacking agent. White House tours stop to clean up the blood. Yikes.
Wow.
Who was this? Commander Biden? Was that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commander. And he bit a bunch of people apparently, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's bitten he has, I think, almost 30 bite records. And to be totally clear, I do not hold this against the dog. I hold it against the Biden family for having a dog in an environment where it is not thriving.
I mean, sometimes you get bad dogs, right? And I don't know what the appropriate response is for a dog that bites a whole lot, a muzzle. I think usually what most jurisdictions do is if a dog bites multiple times, they put it down.
Right. Mm-hmm. They've had 2 dogs that have had this problem in the White House. It's not, I mean, maybe they got 2 dogs back to back, or maybe German Shepherds are a specific breed that have qualities for protection. And in this environment, it's not being trained to cue for protective, behaviors. Like, this is not rocket science. The Obamas had what, like a Labradoodle? They had like a tiny fluffy dog. Maybe this is not the place to have German Shepherds.
I just got to point out something weird. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi told the outlet that the agency abides by law for federal records retention, schedule that defines when certain types of records can be archived, destroyed, etc. However, Guglielmi did not have direct knowledge of the video in question, according to a statement. This guy has popped up a lot. Guglielmi.
He's a familiar name.
Wasn't he the spokesperson in the Jussie Smollett case too?
Let me look.
I swear there's
that would be interesting.
He is. There's a couple other stories where he's just been like the spokesman for these different law enforcement agencies when these stories come up. So I don't know. But I can say, the Biden dog was biting people, and they reportedly destroyed all the evidence.
When was this? This is recent?
It was a couple years ago, wasn't it? 2020, a year ago.
Okay.
2023. I'm also curious about what happened with Joe hurting his leg.
It says Anthony Guglielmi, is that how you say his last name?
Guglielmi.
The Chicago Police Department spokesperson.
But he had a bunch of other jobs too. You can look up his records.
Yeah, he obviously has some sort of law enforcement PR thing where he's getting shifted around.
But he pops up at all the biggest stories. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, remember when Biden hurt his foot and he was like, oh, the dog.
In the shower?
Yeah, what happened with that? Like the dog?
know.
He was fighting the dog or something?
I want to see the
He
evidence.
said he fell over the dog or something.
And the
Getting
dog
out
was
of
in
the
the bathroom.
shower.
He was getting out of the shower and tripped on the dog?
Yeah.
Why was the dog in the bathroom?
The dog was, I don't know.
Well, we know that Biden has weird boundary issues, so.
I guess he left the door open. Occam's razor says he left the door open.
That's not unreasonable, I guess. He's an old man who lives with just his wife. He has the door open when he's
And
showering.
some people's
And the
dogs will
dog's
be like, no, but I have to
apparently.
be near you.
Yeah.
It could be normal stuff.
Dog-
The bite issues, because what I remember is they had an older German Shepherd when they moved in, and they had a younger one. And the older one passed, very sad, long life. The younger one always had bite issues. And
You're talking about Commander?
let me double check, but I think it's Commander. Because I have on Scanner News that Commander was involved in his 11th bite incident in September of last year. And so this is an ongoing issue. But they had to rehome their previous dog Major after he bit a bunch of people, because they had their older dog Major move into the White House. Major bit people. They would send it back to Delaware for trainings or whatever else. Like, you have to do something. And then eventually they rehomed Major with family friends. And then they got this new German Shepherd puppy that they named Commander. Now Commander also has bite issues. And again, I go back to, maybe they should switch breeds. Maybe they need a lab. Maybe they need a dog that isn't often used in police service for protection. Like, why are we doing this to these dogs? Obviously, this environment is not good for them. Or you guys aren't able to effectively train and manage your dogs. Either way, this is a situation they keep creating. And I feel bad for these Secret Service members who are probably being told, do not talk about this. No one talk about these bites. We cannot make the Bidens look like bad German Shepherd owners.
Yeah, they're doing it for optics, I think. They want a big, strong dog with the name Commander so that it looks like we have a commander in the White House, which sad as hell that. But then the other observation is that the guy can't lead it. He can't, obviously his brain's not there to raise a child right now. He can't raise a dog. He can't raise a German Shepherd, especially. Those things need massive attention and they need massive discipline. And their teeth are so sharp and they're so big and strong. You cannot mess with those. You can't slip. Luke has one. You got to watch that guy, the way he trains that dog. Like, it's impressive, and it requires daily attention, literally.
They're great dogs, but they deserve to also be in the correct environment, right?
And they need an owner. They need a commander. They need someone in charge of their behavior, or they're going to go wild and just start smacking at everything.
Maybe the dog was in charge. Like, you were trying to figure out who's running Biden. Maybe it was a dog. Maybe
dog's been in charge the whole
the
time.
dog is the commander-in-chief.
Yeah.
Biden was just there, and he was in the way.
There's a Roman emperor that did that. Caligula, did he make his horse?
Made his horse a senator or something like that?
I think that might have been Caligula.
There's that town that made the Labrador the mayor.
It's funny stuff.
I think that's a good idea.
I think they should get rid of the dog. I think it's one bite too many.
No, didn't they already get rid of it?
Oh,
I think they've rehomed both of them at this point. They definitely had. They have sent Commander back for trainings. I think ultimately they also rehomed it as well.
25 recorded attacks from Commander.
That's crazy.
And then remember, they had Major before that, who also had a series of bites and had to be
Major and
So
Commander.
it's like, what, we're pushing at least 30, maybe more bites. Like, at what point do the Secret Service agents, get together and say, look, we have rights. You guys can't have a German Shepherd anymore. You have to have, a pug or something.
yeah. What was that? What were they? In Vietnam when if their company commander kept getting guys killed, they'd wake up one night with a grenade in their tent. It's like, I don't know what they would call that. Fragging the commander. It was terrible. Yeah, that dog bites enough Secret Service agents. They're like, yo, is someone going to take care of this dog? What the hell? But I think they should get rid of it.
I guess I'm more
another dog.
But they did. But I'm more concerned, I guess, with the destruction of evidence.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is there going to be responsibility for this? I mean,
Well, again,
why did they
like
do
you
it?
pointed out that in other cities, dogs have like a 2-bite, if that, and then they can be potentially put down, which is really sad. And in
Deadly
this case,
weapons.
what?
They're deadly weapons.
Or euthanized is what I'm saying.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but dogs, you treat them like deadly weapons. They
Sure,
can kill.
but in this case, Joe Biden doesn't have to, right? Even when people that are basically in his employ are in danger, he doesn't have to abide by rules that other people would. And again, already talked about Hunter, like, why is this the case? Why are we allowed to do this? And why does the American public turn a blind eye to it? Like, if you love dogs, you look at this story and say, this dog is not in a good environment. It doesn't deserve to be here. It's probably stressed out. It's not being, managed the way it needs to be, whatever. Also, if you work for the Secret Service, I'm sure you're like, oh my gosh, please do not assign me to the detail wherever Commander is, because I will probably get bitten and I don't want to deal with that. It seems like an obvious fix, but for whatever reason, Biden doesn't feel like it's worth doing.
Well, I guess they fixed it. They got rid of the dog. They rehomed the dog.
Eventually, yeah.
And
I think they
destroyed
just
the
have
evidence.
cats now.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's good.
But the evidence, they're destroying evidence to protect him. I wonder what else they're doing that for. What other evidence do you think they're destroying to protect
All of it?
sweet President Biden?
Public records, emails, cell phones. They got bleach bit for that. I have to imagine, when Hillary Clinton destroyed all those emails, it's not like it's the first time it's ever happened or the last. It's just the one you know about.
Yeah.
Like we were mentioning Justin Timberlake earlier about the DUI. And I'm like, in my opinion, I'd imagine he drives drunk all the time.
Right, yeah.
Like on Fox News, they were like, why would he do that? And I think it was Gutfeld was like, he's lucky nobody got hurt. And I'm like, I can't imagine it's the first time he did it. You know what I mean? Like, he just doesn't care.
Damn, that's
So-
what Uber for, bro.
But when you're ultra wealthy, what do you care?
Yeah.
So I have to imagine when it comes to like government records, Democrats be just destroying everything. I'd be willing to bet Biden's got so many classified records just all over the place and never even found.
And we were talking about the January 6th committee. They destroyed all of their records. So much of their footage from different depositions that they took is just gone. They've destroyed it. We'll never see it.
Evil.
It's crazy.
Welcome to modern America. That's why I'm just like, I 4th of July is coming up, but I don't feel like there's a functioning country anymore. We're being occupied by oligarchs. They're just
Yeah.
doing whatever they want.
I know. It's been like I've learned about it in 2007 and got so black-pilled. It's just, this is what we are. This is what we have become, is the hollowed out tip of the economic oligarchy.
That's a good point, Ian. Maybe what's really happened is that we shouldn't be black-pilled. The reality is we should be white-pilled, because before Trump, the deep state oligarchs were in control of everything with no say whatsoever. And people right now may be looking at it like, oh no, we're losing. Actually, for the first time, we're winning. Right? So 2007, well before Trump, the deep state's in control 100%. Nothing's changing that. Trump comes around, wins, and now they're panicking. So we're actually facing the only real opportunity we've had in 30 or 40 years or longer to actually get a real president in who's far from perfect, but a real president.
Yeah, I think so much of American politics and so much of life is deciding the mentality with which you're going to face challenges. And so if you say like, well, it's all over, you just can't change anything, then you are definitely not changing anything. Whereas if you look to this as like an opportunity to change some of the damage that's being done to steer the ship in a different direction, then you should feel really motivated going into November. Like, you should be looking at this as like the most critical time and the actions that you're doing, whether that's, campaigning for local people that you support or talking to your friends and family about voting, like you should look at that as a critical activity, which you can then look back on and say, like, I made a difference because I did those things.
Yeah, and I think now too, more people are aware and awake. Like they understand what's going on. Pre-Trump, like I had no idea how the deep state functioned. I had no idea that it even existed, or that, people in DC and the Beltway hated me and my values and were actively working against me, even if they were Republicans. I just had no conceptualization of that. But Trump in many ways was a great revealer, and he pulled back the curtain and showed people that the swamp is real. It's aimed directly at you, and this is how we drain it and we fix it. So I think more people are engaged and informed than ever before, and that should be a huge white pill for Americans everywhere.
Yeah, with the knowledge of what's going on, that's the white pill, because we're tasked with creating a global government. Like we're involved in the crafting of the mind of every human on earth that's listening right now. And if we didn't know how corrupt things had become in the U.S., it could be very easy just to want to replicate it. But there's a lot of things we can change. I like voting. I kind of like voting for the politicians.
What if we got rid of voting?
Yeah, voting's a little weird.
And what if we got rid of
popularity contests?
Let's just let Trump be in charge for as long as he's alive, and then just to make sure we're good, once he passes on, he can
come back whenever he wants.
He can abdicate the chair, the Resolute desk, to Don Jr. And that will just make sure that Trump and Trump Jr. can take care of this country, and we don't need voting.
Probably just keep it in the family,
Yeah, because they've done a great job, and then after Trump Jr., of course, it can go to Trump Jr.'s kid, and we'll do that from now on.
No, come on.
That's I think it sounds crazy now, but Hamilton had an idea very similar to that. He wanted basically an elected monarch. So you would have someone, that was elected, and then they would serve for life. And the check on them was basically that they could be impeached.
Oh.
And if you set up a viceroy, then you pick your heir, but then they don't have any claims. They just serve the role, and then when they die, their viceroy takes over. Mm-hmm. That's one way to do it.
Be interesting. I think one of the challenges...
I don't literally think a monarchy is a good idea.
I don't either.
We're just spitballing. We're just brainstorming ideas. It's just a conversation.
Democracy, it's a nice... Up to this point, it's been good enough. But just mob rule popularity contests isn't necessarily the best way to get the best leaders into office. I'm sorry to interrupt. You were about to say something.
I think, too, we've become much more democratic as our country's history has gone on, and I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing, and I think that it's kind of a rejection of what we were meant to be. To me, what's the point of having a bicameral legislature, the Senate and the House of Representatives, that are both basically the same? They're both just directly elected. Senators used to be appointed by the governors, and to me that makes sense, right? You have two different chambers who are different. They're elected different ways, and they do different things. And now they're basically just the same thing, just one serves longer than the other. And I think that doesn't, to me, make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. It'd be interesting to see if your state legislators voted and picked your your federal senator, because then at that point people are going to be really invested, or at least more invested in their local representation, because it will have this direct pipeline to the federal government that we don't have right now.
If they had senators for 4 years only, they're appointed by governors, then I'm into it. If they're in there for 12 years, then I feel like the senator's going to put their buddy in there, and they're just going to set up a little co-opt. But if it's a short Senate seats, maybe 2 years, you go in there, you're appointed by your governor, you go in there for 2 years, next guy, that might be way, way better than putting people in long term.
I think my ultimate interest is not having as much focus on federal politics. I think empowering the states more than we do right now is the biggest deal. And I think to have that happen, you'd have to feel like on the state level, your decisions can't just be trodden on by the federal government, that you can hold a state office and really, really make a difference. And that was one of the things that I found interesting during COVID. It was really the governors who decided what direction their state was going to go. And again, obviously Ron DeSantis, but there were other governors that, decided that they were going to resist some of the pressure they were facing from the federal government in 2021. And that should be a reminder of how important the state system is, as opposed to saying well, how do we make the federal government work for us? We're supposed to have this check being the states. They're supposed to protect us from a government that's out of hand on the federal level. Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe and we'll see you all there.